everyone, welcome to the video series Zoned Out. In this series I'll be looking at ways to create outside of my comfort zone and hopefully inspire you to find ways to create outside of your comfort zone. I'm sure that we all have go-to designs that we like to use. I know that I do. If you look at my gallery, you can see a lot of the same elements, probably a lot of the same colors, just kind of maybe the same style. Maybe sometimes the same layout design. So I just wanted to look at some ways maybe that we can not necessarily break out of our regular style, but just to explore some different types of designs and color schemes and things like that. And in this first video, we're going to look at going graphic. And when I think of graphic, I think of black and white mainly. Those are eye-catching colors. When I think of graphic, I think of newspaper for some reason. That's something that comes to my mind with the black and white print. And so for this layout, I wanted to create a large bold title using some black letters that came in a Studio Calico kit. And I also wanted to use a black and white photo. So I'm going to make those the main elements on my layout and keep a very simple color scheme. I will bring in some other colors. But mainly it's going to be a lot of black and white, and you can see there is my photo. This is a pattern paper that I'm going to layer behind my photo, and I also have a pattern paper that I'm matting this white cardstock on that you can see here. It's a gray pattern paper that has the alphabet on it, so it's kind of a subtle pattern, nothing too crazy or busy. And so I'm just going to layer that white cardstock over the top, and I'm going to put some color shine on that before because I want some black color shine layered in the back. And if you're creating a layout that's different than your normal style, you can still pull some of your aesthetic, some of the elements that you like to use. And I like to use color shine a lot, and so this goes in with the graphic style just because I'm using the black, and I just added a little bit there. Some of that will be covered once I add my title and my photo, but I just wanted to get that there in the background before I started putting my embellishments on. And so now you can see I'm layering that. It's kind of a grid pattern paper with just a red lined pattern on it, and I just wanted a little bit of that behind the photo just to make it stand out a little more from the white cardstock. And these are the letters. They're really big, so I'll only do a small title, or a small word title I should say. It's going to be Let's Go, and so I'm just pulling those letters out now, and that's going to be there kind of in the middle and toward the bottom of the page because those are so large. And I really kept the embellishments also to a minimum on this layout because when I do think of graphic, I think of not a lot of stuff on your layout. It's kind of clean. There's a clean look to it. It's not over embellished, and you can see there I'm just kind of getting those in place. And I do know that that is supposed to be Let Us Go, and that's should be a contraction, but I did not have an apostrophe in these letters, so for the sake of not having an apostrophe and not wanting to try to make one on my own, I'm just going to go with the LETS, no apostrophe. And so I'm just using my ruler to get those lined up kind of in the center. And then I just kind of wing it from there. I didn't care if it was too perfect. You know, they could be straight or sometimes they're not. Most of the time my letters do not end up straight, even when I tried to get them straight. So I actually think my S does end up being a little bit crooked there at the end, but it's okay. Nobody will probably care but me. So I am checking to see how those look. And some other ways that I am bringing my style into this, you can see I'm using some die cuts. But instead of cutting those from pattern paper or adding any color, I'm just leaving them white just to have that white on white look. That still goes with the graphic design. And like I said, I do bring in a little bit of pattern. And another thing I do on this layout is add a little bit of journaling, hand journaling toward the end, so you'll see that. So you can still bring in definitely elements that you like to use. And some of the benefits of doing layouts out of your comfort zone. The first one obviously is you might really like it. You might find that, hey, I really like this style, which doesn't mean that you have to completely change your whole aesthetic and the way you design, but sometimes it's fun just, you know, based on a photo or maybe an idea that you have to do something different. outside of your normal design. If you find that you don't like that whole design look, there may be some elements that you take from it that you really like. You might like doing like the large title, or maybe more of a limited color scheme. Another good thing is it saves on your supplies. I found that you don't really have to use a lot. You're going for a more minimal look, so you're not really using a whole lot of product. Most everything on this layout came in the Circ kit from Studio Calico. The washi tape was from my stash, and of course the color shine and the cardstock. So it can come in really handy if you're trying to be frugal, and if you're on a spending freeze and not wanting to spend a lot of money on supplies. That would be a good way to save some money. And here you can see I am going to add in some pattern paper. So this is a little bit of my design. I like to add pattern paper. And these are actually just the manufacturer strips at the bottom of the pattern papers. And since I didn't want to add a lot, I thought these would work great. And I just kind of cut them on an angle. They both have stripes, kind of some diagonal stripes going on. So I'm just kind of using those as a design element there, above and below the arrows, the die cut arrows that I added earlier. And once I get those on, I am going to stitch, just to add some texture. And that's also another one of the little design elements that I like to use. I like to add stitching to my layouts. But I kept it in white thread, so it's not anything too busy, and still stays in line with the graphic look. I just wanted to get that done off camera because my bobbin is running out and I have been too lazy to add any more thread to it. So I was worried that it might run out in the middle of me trying to stitch those on, so I decided it would be better to wait till the end. And I just wanted to add some stamping, just kind of like almost like a little graffiti look. Just kind of some messy stamping there. I can't have it too clean. It has to have a little bit of wonky stamping. And I used one of those gold chipboard hearts at the top, and since my embellishments were more minimal on this layout, I wanted to add a couple more of those. And those were kind of really the main embellishments that I really used on this layout, as far as anything that had depth. So I just added those two there at the bottom and attached those with my tiny attacher. And I did add two of these wood drop stickers from Pink Fresh Studio. I wanted that little arrow look for the chevron, and thought those worked right up there by the stamping. It kind of balanced out those hearts too, to kind of create like a little visual triangle to go around the page. And so I just decided to put both of them there at the top. And you can see here at the end, I'm almost finishing up. I'm going to do some journaling right there above the title, just some hand journaling. I'm going to draw some lines. And so this actually went pretty quickly. That's another benefit. You can get these layouts done fairly quickly. It doesn't take a whole lot of time to put one together if you have an idea of what you're doing. And once I get my journaling finished here on this one, I'll have a little preview of what is going to be coming up next Monday. Each of the videos in the series will be on Monday for the next 3 weeks after today. So I hope you'll join me for those. Like I said, you can see a preview for what's coming up. And I'll also have the finished layout and some close-ups here at the end. So thanks for joining me today.